All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Magical Mayhem podcast. This is episode number 7. My name is Jack Armstrong, and I'm going to be your lone host today since Carol is feeling a little under the weather. I am as well, but my voice is in a lot better place than hers. She can hardly talk, and it just hurts to talk. So you got me. I'm going to yap for a little bit. And today we're going to be diving into my opinions on Universal's newest theme park, Epic Universe. But before we do that, just wanted to say I apologize for being pretty absent and not really dedicating a lot of time to the podcast. We've had 7 episodes this year. This is the 7th. I've wanted a lot more, but unfortunately, we haven't really gotten there. Just because I've been focusing on the long form videos and our YouTube shorts and our TikTok. So, if you guys aren't over there yet, you can find us on YouTube at Armstrong Entertainment. Find me on TikTok at Armstrong Entertainment 8. I've been posting a lot of content over there. We're having weekly videos from now until at least mid-October. So, that's really awesome. And yeah, so that's where we've been. I'm really gonna dedicate more time to this podcast because I'll not be having as many rapid fire trips. So it's gonna be a lot more time to focus on stuff back on the home front. And one of those things that I'm gonna focus on is the podcast. So I'm back. The show's back. Hope you enjoy because you're gonna have some pretty frequent episodes now. Okay, and before we dive into my review of Epic Universe, I want to go over something really quickly that came out this past Tuesday, and that is that we are getting some more changes to Hollywood studios. Star Wars Launch Bay, that eyesore in the middle of Animation Courtyard, is going to be gone in just about 60 days. On September 24th, I believe, that will permanently close to make way for a reimagined animation experience. That animation experience is going to be based off of the Once Upon a Studio short that came out during Disney's 100th celebration. It's going to feature some new experiences as well as some old things coming back, like the drawing tutorials. And they also announced that the Disney Junior show will be reimagined and will be re released at a later date. Sorry, the cat just keeps talking. But it'll be released at a later date. And I don't want to speculate. You'll get more of this in my D23 predictions. But I think Bluey is coming to that Disney Junior show. Disney recently did get the theme park rights. They've been saying that more Bluey should be coming to the U.S. parks in 2024 and 2025. And if we at least get an announcement in 2025, I think I'll be happy. Or I think most people will be happy. I'm not going to be going to that Disney Junior show. I don't have any kids. So, yeah, big changes coming to Animation Courtyard. It's finally going back to its animation and Hollywood roots. So Hollywood Studios is having a bit of that OG Hollywood Studios charm. Then also Test Track reopened this week. That is getting overwhelmingly positive reviews. So things are going well for Disney right now. But this isn't really a Disney episode. This is a Universal episode. So let's dive into my review of Universal's newest theme park, Epic Universe. All right, so Epic Universe has been open for about 2 months now, and reactions have been overwhelmingly positive, and my reaction myself is the same. I am overwhelmingly positive when it comes to Epic Universe. I think there are a few hiccups that are going to be worked out in the opening few years. This park is only 2 months old, and there's room for expansion, there's room for some improvement on the already existing attractions, lands, and experiences. And overwhelmingly, I just want to say Universal team members, engineers, everybody did a phenomenal job with this park. There was so much thought and attention to it, and the people who built the specific lands, it is obvious that they loved their source. Drop my microphone there. They loved their source material from the makers of Mario World or Nintendo World building that, to Dark Universe, to Harry Potter, to Isle of Berk. All of those lands had so much love and care behind them, and I really, really enjoy that. It felt like every portal you stepped into, you were completely immersed in something new. So to go into this review, I'm going to go through each of the portals and some of the bigger offerings. I won't get too nitpicky since the park is brand new. So let's start with Celestial Park. Now, Celestial Park is the only non-IP based area in Universal, I believe, with the exception of like Rip Ride Rocket isn't really IP based, but it's music. But Celestial Park is really their sole non-IP based land. And the gem of the land is the dueling coaster Stardust Racers. And as a plus size person, I love that these seats are accommodating and they're even getting more accommodating seats. I myself fit in the normal seat, which I'm very grateful for. I have lost a decent amount of weight to get to that seat, but they are getting modified seats for those of you who need those modified seats, which is also a very welcome addition. So that is incredible. But Stardust Racers is a top tier attraction. I think it's up there with Velocicoaster for being the best coaster at Universal Orlando. And quite frankly, I haven't been to SeaWorld or anything, but the best coaster in the Orlando area. I think Stardust Racers is phenomenal. I've done both green and yellow. They are a little different, but they're similar. And it is overall a great time. Constellation Carousel, it's a unique take on a simple carousel attraction, so I do enjoy that. And then if you look at the dining, there's like the ice cream place, there's the fish place, I don't know exactly what it's called, the Atlantic, I believe, which I haven't been to, but Pizza Moon. Now I have a mixed reaction to Pizza Moon. I absolutely love the food at Pizza Moon. I think the pizza is some of the best theme park pizza I've ever had. It blows things like Pizza Rizzo and Pizza Fari out of the water. And that's going to be really the only Disney comparison I make here because I really want to base this solely on my enjoyment of the Universal parks. I don't want to be pulling in Disney because I feel like they're two different things. But, anyways, my only issue with Pizza Moon is I really do not like the seating system. You got to wait in an outdoor line to go inside to wait in an indoor line to then get at a table, and only then can you order your pizza. So a quick service restaurant experience can take upwards of an hour plus if you really want to eat there. There are other places to eat throughout the park, but if you have your heart set on Pizza Moon and it's a busier day, you can be prepared to wait in a line, to get to a seat, to then wait for them to make your pizza. Which is why I think Pizza Moon should introduce a mobile order to go option, because some people might just want to get their pizza and enjoy it somewhere else in the park, and I think they should fully be able to do that. So I believe that Pizza Moon has some of the best theme park pizza. However, the lines sometimes make it brutal to want to go there. You are on my phone, cat. Apologies for the delay. I'm fighting a cat here. So overall, Celestial Park is very beautiful. I really like the Kronos, the main icon, I guess, of the park when you walk in. Then you have the Grand Helios Hotel in the back, which is a very expensive hotel. I don't think I will ever get to stay there. But overall, Celestial Park is a very beautiful introduction and gateway into these four separate portals. And now I'm going to go kind of the way I naturally progressed around the park. And the next place I went is Super Nintendo World. So Super Nintendo World is by far, I believe, the most immersive land in Epic Universe. However, it's also the most over-congested and difficult land to enjoy. So you walk in, and there's really one way in, and you go through Peach's Castle, and then you come out to a view of basically the Nintendo world that you've seen in videos of Japan and Hollywood. You got Yoshi's Adventure, you got Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. You come out kind of on a balcony, and this is where a lot of people kind of congregate. Congregate, not conjugate. Oh my god. I'm still getting over a cold. Leave me alone. So this is where a lot of people kind of gather. And it really creates a ton of bottlenecks. And I feel like that is one thing that this land in particular has an issue with. This is probably my least favorite land of the 4 or 5 if we include Celestial Park. Even though I feel like it has so much potential, it just gets so overcrowded and you just want to get out of there. So you go over to Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. It's a VR attraction. It's nothing too special. If you love Mario Kart, you're going to love the ride. So, but it's really, I was underwhelmed going on it because I was expecting something a little more high speed. If they made it something like, again, another Disney comparison, I got to stop those. If you made it more like Test Track over at Epcot, where it's, you can start off kind of slow, exploring the world of Mario, and then have a fast portion to kind of conclude the ride. I feel like that would have been a lot more well received than just this put on a VR headset and shoot shells at people. Then you have Yoshi's Adventure, which is basically a people mover, but a lot more condensed. I do wish it went further throughout Mario Land, but It's fine for what it is. It's an Omni Mover, which I think is the only one at this park. You get Toadstool Cafe, which always has a really long line. Then you go into Donkey Kong Country and you have Minecart Madness. And Minecart Madness is a fun ride. You're going to need a chiropractor afterwards, but it's fun. The only issue that I have with Nintendo Land is that it really has a major capacity issue. You have rides like Mario Kart, which can only have 1,200 people an hour. You compare that to a similar attraction like Men in Black, and Men in Black you can have 22 to 2,400 an hour. And then Donkey Kong, you can only have 1,000 guests per hour. Meanwhile, an attraction like Hagrid's, you can have 1,800 to 2,000 guests an hour. So the capacity of these two marquee attractions, not only in Super Nintendo World, but in Epic Universe as a whole, really makes these rides, even on a slower day, have 120 plus minute waits because the capacity is just so low. And that's my biggest issue with Nintendo World. I feel like it's a lot of people standing around because every line looks absolutely insane. And then they're kind of standing around hoping that the line goes down. And people are just standing there and it's just creating a ton of roadblocks and bottlenecks. And it's just, Nintendo World is very overcrowded. I believe with a upcoming rumored expansion of Luigi's Mansion, I feel like that will really help this land because it has a lot of potential. It's a lot of fun. The punching blocks with the power-up band is really cool. The power band is an innovative idea to get families to spend even more money before even starting the day. But, good for Universal for coming up with that concept. It's very good. It's kind of like a magic band on crack, honestly. But I feel like Nintendo World has a lot of potential, but I was the most let down by it because it's just long waits, underwhelming rides, and it's just so overcrowded. Now we're going to go to my buddy Igor over at Dark Universe, which is honestly the land I had the lowest expectations for because I'm not a big horror or Universal Monsters guy. I'm not a big fan of those movies or those characters. But walking through that Dark Universe portal and seeing the Darkmoor Castle, I personally was completely blown away. And this is coming from somebody who isn't a big Monsters fan. So for somebody who is a big Universal Monsters fan, I'm sure that this is 10 times more incredible for you than it is for me, but I myself still loved it. I unfortunately didn't fit on Curse of the Werewolf, even though when we went during the annual pass holder previews, I did fit in the test seat, but then the ride I did not fit on. And then when I went a second time back earlier in the month, both test seats were somehow broken, which is a bit of a letdown. And then the ride itself had a 50-minute wait, and I don't want to wait 50 minutes on a maybe. So I think it's a bit of a letdown that the test seats somehow are broken. So hopefully they can fix those. Hopefully those are fixed now. And yeah, so I don't really have much to say on Curse of the Werewolf. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I don't really have much to say about it. But then we get into what I think is the best attraction at Epic Universe and arguably a top 5 attraction at the Universal Orlando Resort in Monsters Unchained. I absolutely love Monsters Unchained. It's like Forbidden Journey on crack. I unfortunately don't fit on Forbidden Journey, so I am very happy that the team at Universal decided to make bigger, more adjusted seats for this ride. I am able to fit in the regular and the adjusted seat. If you look at the test seat, the end seats are the normal ones and the 2 middle seats are the adjusted seats. So if you're a bigger person, go for those 2 middle seats. Typically the bigger people don't want the middle seat, but hey, Universal did it that way. I'm going to live with it. This ride is incredible. The queue is incredibly immersive. I love the pre-show. I love Igor. The animatronics are phenomenal, from Victoria Frankenstein to Frankenstein himself to Dracula. And then the ride itself has probably the most beautiful blend I have seen at Universal of real animatronics and screen effects. They blend it so perfectly. One of Universal's biggest issues with the other two parks is people say there are too many screen rides, which I can agree with. This one is a screen ride, but there are so many real animatronics and real practical effects that the screens honestly are just there to enhance the attraction, and I absolutely adore this ride. And then the walk around characters like the Invisible Man, I believe. I haven't seen him, but he's there. And then you have Igor. and Igor is incredible. All the actors who play Igor are amazing. Shout out to every single person who is Igor, who was Igor, and will ever be Igor. That is such a fun character to see these people play, and he is so much fun in the parks. So overall, I was most surprised by Dark Universe because, like I said, I was never the biggest Universal Monsters fan, but still I felt very immersed in this land, and Monsters Unchained is a phenomenal attraction, and I think by far the best attraction at Epic Universe. All right. This segment may be a little bit of a rant, and I apologize in advance because I myself am not the biggest Harry Potter fan. I was finally able to get on Hagrid's. Hagrid's is an incredible ride. Hogwarts is cool. Diagon Alley is cool. But I am not as in love with it as other Harry Potter fans are. And then this land is themed more towards Fantastic Beasts, which I care even less about. So, if this ruffles some feathers, I am very sorry. But I did not like Battle of the Ministry, and I think this is the weakest land at Epic Universe. Alright, so Paris is cool, Paris is fun. I think World Showcases Paris is better, but that's just me being a little bit of a Disney bias. The coolest part about this land itself is the little hidden animatronics around, like the little praying mantis looking dude. He's cool. But we need to talk about Battle of the Ministry because everyone is acting like it's this revolutionary attraction. It's not. You also can't be revolutionary if you go down all the time because the system isn't great. So it's ahead of its time if it's anything. But I did not really care for this ride. My first issue with Battle of the Ministry in and of itself. First time I went there, it was that stupid virtual queue system, which isn't on the ride, but it's more on Universal's operations department or whoever. But their virtual line system is bottom of the barrel abysmal. I was losing my mind trying to get a spot in that virtual line, and I didn't get it the first time. So I already had a sour taste in my mouth about Battle of the Ministry, was Ministry of Magic, whatever. So when we went back in July, we waited in a single rider line, and then because it is the most unreliable ride I have ever seen, it went down. We stayed in line for 2 hours. It never came back up, so the queue got dumped. And then it came back up. And then I remember reading online that the indoor portion of this queue, of the Ministry queue, can hold up to 7 hours of queuing, which I would never wait 7 hours for a ride, but if you have it, that's great. Wonderful. Why am I standing outside in line? Why am I waiting outside? If you can hold 7 hours of queue inside and the line is 120 minutes, why are we outside? So either that 7 hours thing was a lie, or there's having people outside to have people outside. I don't understand. But anyways, the queue is cool for about 5 minutes if you're a real Harry Potter fan. The whole screen with Umbridge on trial. Awesome, that's cool. Once you get past that, it gets old. You are just waiting and waiting around endless rooms, going past endless walls, thinking, is this turn going to be the last turn before the ride? Spoiler alert, it's not. You wait, you wait, you wait, you wait, you wait. The ride goes down, you wait, you wait, you wait. And then eventually, if you're lucky enough and the ride doesn't break down while you're in line, you get to the front of the line. And then you board this loading vehicle that is so finicky that if you even cross your legs in your seat, it's going to shut down the entire ride. Anyways, the ride itself is fine. The ride itself is cool. I don't mind the ride. It's not something I'm going to wait 2 hours for again. Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, they are older in this. The kids are older. So they seem so incredibly uninterested in being part of this now Their lines are incredibly dry. They're incredibly dull. And honestly, they're the worst part of the attraction. It moves around fine. It's fine. It's it's an upgraded simulator. I don't know what else to call it, but it's not. I wouldn't wait more than 90 minutes for it, and even 90 minutes is generous. The rest of the land is fine. You walk around, explore the streets of Paris. It's cool. But that ride and the whole experience around it gave me such a sour taste in my mouth that it made me have a negative experience throughout all of the Ministry of Magic area. So I apologize for that little rant there, but it's not for me. Ministry of Magic, not for me. Fantastic Beasts, not for me. Harry Potter, not for me. If it's for you, great. You'll probably love it. But that was probably the most frustrating ride experience I've ever had. And unless I get really lucky and that ride has a low wait one day, I probably won't be doing it again anytime soon. I hope you're excited to hear Test Drive because we're heading over to Isle of Berk. I'm not going to lie, I was very excited to hear Test Drive. I love those movies. I actually really just recently watched them. Carol got me into them because I had only seen the first one, and that was a long time ago. And so before we went to Epic Universe for the second time, because I really didn't appreciate it as much the first time because I hadn't seen the movies in a long while, we sat down and we watched the entire trilogy, and I loved it. Went to Isle of Berk, and I fell in love with that franchise even more. So let's dive into my favorite portal of them all, How to Train Your Dragon World, Isle of Berk. So I think this is the most immersive portal of them all. You walk in and right away you have the two statues over the water with Hiccup's wing gliders in the background. It is absolutely gorgeous. So Fire Drill is the boat ride, the water ride. You get absolutely drenched on it. Don't let anybody fool you. You're not so much as hitting the targets you're supposed to hit as shooting water at the other boats. So that ride is fun. It's nothing really to write home about. It's just your typical water shooter ride. But Hiccup's Wing Gliders is amazing. It's on par with Hagrid's for being incredibly fun and well themed. The Toothless animatronic, amazing. The Hiccup animatronic, great. The ride is so much fun. I was able to fit on that one this time after I didn't fit the first trip over to Epic, so I'm glad I was able to do that. That ride was absolutely phenomenal. I had a great time on Hiccup's Wing Gliders, and then I unfortunately don't fit on Dragon Racer Rally, but Carol and Luke do, and they said it was a fun time, and that ride looks fun. The capacity on that is exceptionally low, but I don't really anticipate that being something you're going to have to wait long for, even with the low capacity, because I don't think it's super popular, especially with Hiccup's Wing Gliders there. But all the rides here are all really good. I give them all. The lowest one would be Dragon Racer Rally at like a 6.5 out of 10. Fire Drill's probably a 7, and then Hiccups I'd give like a 9.2. But then you got those awesome mac and cheese cones over there. Those mac and cheese cones are great. I've had the original and I've had the Dragon's Breath one. I haven't had the PB&J one, but those mac and cheese cones are amazing. The best snack over at Epic Universe. We didn't get to see the show, unfortunately, because they were having a technical issue, but I'm sure that was great. And then we didn't want to wait 90 minutes to meet Toothless, but we did see the animatronic, and he is amazing. So overall, I don't have a ton to say about this land just because I really enjoyed it. I usually have more to say when I don't like something, as you saw with Ministry, but I loved How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk. I found it to be with the exception of Nintendo World, because that when you actually buy a band and play a game, I found this land to be the most like you're there. Sometimes in Mario, it's like I don't know, you kind of get taken out of it, especially after waiting for as long as you've waited for certain attractions. But like even riding Hiccups, like you just feel like you are in Berk. It is so immersive. I absolutely adore this land. And if I go back, this is going to be the land I go to first from now on because I absolutely love it. And while everybody else is waiting 3 hours for Minecart Madness, I'm going to go wait 30 for Hiccup's Wing Gliders. So this land was just flat out amazing. I absolutely loved Isle of Burke. Everything about it was great. So, closest portal to perfection for me. So, in conclusion, for Epic Universe, I think it was a great success. I don't think it's a Disney killer like Wallen Ballin says. He blocked me, anyways. This isn't concept art, this is real life. He can't take a joke. So, anyways, I feel like Epic Universe is an incredibly themed area. I feel like there is so much to like, but there's also so much to expand on and fix. I really hope Ministry can become more reliable so I don't hate that area as much as I do. I hope they expand Dark Universe and include a Creature of the Black Lagoon ride. That would be awesome. Luigi's Mansion. And then they have space beside Ministry for a whole other portal, or beside Stardust, sorry, for a whole other portal. So that should be really exciting to see. So this park isn't just done after this opening. There's going to be expansion. There's going to be growth. Overall, I think it is a great success for Universal. And that's really all I have to say about Epic Universe. I think it's a great park. I feel like it has its flaws, but overall, it's overwhelmingly positive, which I know is rare for me when it comes to Universal. You guys know I have my issues with them, but it's plus size friendly. It's immersive. It's fun. I wish they would open later in the night. I wish they'd open a little earlier in the day, but I get cast members need their rest. Also, cast members, team members, you deserve free admission to any park anytime. You bust your you know what to give guests an unforgettable experience. You deserve to be part of that fun and that magic as well. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they suck. Team members deserve it. And then before we wrap this up, I did want to talk about the hotels over there. Obviously, there's Helios, which I will never stay at, but I have stayed at Stella Nova. Stella Nova is a very nice value hotel. The one thing I like about their value hotels versus Disney's value hotels, you are going to be walking a country mile to your hotel room. Like if you stay at All Star Sports and you're over in the basketball section, you might want to take a cab. Universal, it's all a tower, and I love it. Stella Nova is one building, 8 floors, I believe, and it's easy. It's great. You don't have to walk a country mile to get to your room. Terra Luna is the same. They're basically sister hotels. They are walking distance to Epic Universe, and the bus ride over to the main campus of Universal is only like 10, maybe at most 15 minutes. But it's really nothing that's going to put a dent in your day. I mean, you can get to City Walk pretty easily. They have constant shuttles over there. Each hotel has a bar in the lobby, which is very nice. Overall, I think that new campus, I guess you call it, they're building down there, I think they call it South Campus, it's very nice, and they are really growing that fast, and I am very excited for the future of Epic Universe and Universal as a whole. We do have an episode coming up where we will be talking about the potential expansions coming to Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida, so I'm not going to dive into those today. Carol will be back for those, I hope, unless she loses her voice again. Sorry if I sound a little stuffy or out of it. I'm still getting over a cold myself. And then when it comes to our YouTube channel, we're going to have weekly videos from now until at least mid-October, with 2 videos a week coming the next couple weeks, because Carol is once again going to Florida. I have to stay back and work. I know, what a shame. But yeah, Carol will be going back to Florida for a couple days. She is fully involved in the pin craze, which I'm sure some of you are as well. And I have my own thoughts on that community, but I'm waiting for her to be here to say that. It'll be mostly like an intervention. But that is going to do it for this episode of the Magical Mayhem podcast. If you like what you hear, you can find more of us over on YouTube at youtube.com/ArmstrongEntertainment814. Or you can just search Armstrong Entertainment. We'll pop up. Subscribe to our channel. Watch our videos. We have fun. At least I hope we do. And then if you want to follow me on TikTok, you can go to Armstrong Entertainment 8. And if you want to see my bad opinions and fight with me over on X or Twitter, whatever you call it these days, you can find me at JackNate08. We have a pretty fun community over there. Even if I disagree with you, I still appreciate you. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Magical Mayhem. Stay cool, join the mayhem, and I will see you next week with another episode.